But back to, what was a very serious development last evening. And this was SEBI coming out with an order against 5 key management personnel of IndusInd Bank. These are former personnel, of course. And this is an ex parte interim order that the market regulator came out with, finding prima facie violations by these 5 bank executives, including former CEO Sumant Katpalia. And these are violations relating to insider trading norms. We have Amit Tandon, MD at IiAS, joining in to talk about this. Mr. Tandon, thanks very much for being with us this morning. It's just the feeling, I think the market kind of knows. It's been hearing about these skeletons tumbling out for a while. But yes, this is new. This very clearly tells us that there was malified intent somewhere. It was not just about an inadvertent entry, which is what we thought back in March when the news first came out. This runs bigger than that. And now allegations of insider trading. I mean, materially, does it impact in any way the ongoing process, getting in the new management, and basically getting the bank on track? Does this impact that in any way, or should we look at this as 2 separate issues?
Good morning. You're absolutely right. After they'd taken the big bath and we'd had the chairman speak to the investors, we thought most of the worst is behind us, but clearly more and more is kind of coming out. To my mind, there are a couple of questions which need to be asked. First is, what does it do to the existing structure which was put in place? If you recall, they have an executive committee, and 2 of the members of the executive committee, Sushant Saurabh and Anil Rao, who've been named in the insider trading charges by SEBI, have been named by SEBI. So therefore, the first question to ask is that, look, will the bank persist with these 2 people, or is there going to be a big change which will be underway? The second question to ask, of course, is that, look, all this is coming out. Of course, we have implications for Sumant Katpalia and Arun Khurana and so on and so forth. But also, what does it mean for the board? Were they kind of aware of, they kind of had said in the past that they're not aware of it. But if you read what SEBI said that, look, we've appointed KPMG on the basis of a board note. So again, you have to ask whether the board were shielding the management or whether they were taken by surprise. I think that is really not clear at this stage, and we'll need to hear a little bit more. So if there is action against the board, you can expect that there is going to be some more tumultuous times going ahead. We need to remember that, look, RBI is asking the boards to have direct control over the assurance function. By that, it means they have to look at the internal audit, they have to look at risk management, and they have to look at compliance. And in all these 3, it's clear that the board has not lived up to what RBI's expectations were and what the investors' expectations were. So I think we are going to be in for some amount of volatility or internal churn as far as the bank is concerned.
Okay. Amit, so you're saying the board may need to take responsibility, and this could imply a shakeout of the entire board in IndusInd Bank?
As I said, things are not at the moment tying up. One of the things which was said was the board was made aware of it only as far as March is concerned, this March. But if you read what SEBI's order has said, there is a reference to KPMG being appointed way back in 23 on account of a board note. Now, of course, you can say the board had done its job then. But the question then to ask is, have they been asking the right questions, saying what is the status of the report, what is the amount? Of course, everyone, and they're right, there's no risk to the bank. The bank is solvent. But it has, the whole thing has become a matter of concern, because if you look at the size of the problem which they were seeing, 1,500 crores, 2,000 crores, thereabouts, it's, for a long time, the quarterly profits of the bank were, before tax, were about 3,000 crores. So it's a significant hit that the bank would take, which is why you can understand why there was some attempt to kind of shield the numbers. And I don't know, they were looking at a wing and a prayer and hoping that, look, some of these, some of this, the market will correct itself to some extent, and therefore the extent of the derivative losses will come down. But I don't know what they were thinking about. But clearly, what it's pointing out to is that there could likely to be a shakeout As far as the board is concerned, there is, of course, the existing board structure, existing management structure or the leadership structure will change. So the question is, how quickly will they be able to bring in a new CEO? And that in itself will mean there's going to be a round of internal cleaning up. Every bank is going to become much, much more internal focused rather than looking at opportunities out in the market. So I think there's going to be some degree of slowdown as far as this bank operations are concerned.
But Mr. Tandon, that's really the question. Will simply finding a new CEO be enough? Will it really restore confidence? Because like you very rightly are pointing out, there have been lapses at multiple levels. Accounting, risk management. I mean, earlier, like I said earlier, perhaps one could argue that maybe this was inadvertent, some wrong accounting of derivatives, and then there was something in the MFI books. But now, I mean, a willful violation of insider trading regulations. Basically, my question is, what more needs to be done? I was just reading the National Financial Reporting Authority, the NFRA, has also been receiving complaints. So now, is there a need for a wider probe? Is there a need for, I don't know, maybe some sort of forensic investigation? What needs to be done?
Look, the bank has already said that they're going to categorize this as a fraud. So once they categorize it as a fraud, you have the NFRA, you have the SFIO, you have, the auditors, and the current and the past auditors are going to be questioned. So therefore, there is going to be a great period where there is going to be uncertainty with regard to the bank. We've all been in the markets long enough. So we know that if a financial institution loses trust, it does take a long, long time for it to be built back, if it can build it back. Now, one of the things clearly is there is going to be an internal, it appears that one of the first ways to build trust is to bring in a completely new leadership team, revamp the compliance function, revamp risk management, relook at the internal audit. So, as I just mentioned, the bank is Sunday, for the foreseeable future, going to be much, much more internal focused on building some of these trends. Once they're able to demonstrate that, it's only then that the market will start, and by market, I mean retail investors and others, come back to the bank in the numbers or the numbers we've seen in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, there are those in the stock market who are willing to take a quick punt, thinking that this is a distressed asset, let's buy it. But from what you're saying, this could be a much more long drawn-out process before that confidence comes back.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for joining in. Good to get that perspective from you. Really appreciate it. That's IndusInd Bank. Of course, it's on our radar, one of the top stocks to watch this morning. But let's look at